Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hasi, and today's topic is intro bio, and we are going to cover chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3 from your green biology 2E book. So let's get started. Okay, so we have 3 chapters in module 1, again, starting with introduction to biology. In the introduction, we have 11 themes that we cover. That those 11 themes of biology, they unify biology. That's why they are important. And they are mostly individual chapters in the book that we will be covering throughout the semester. So except one of them, which is emerging properties, which we are going to see. So in biology, if we synthesize a new molecule or something new, that's a lot of time has new features that they actually it's greater than its parts that it's made of. So that has a name called emergent properties. Something emerges, like sodium plus chlorine. So actually it makes sodium chloride, which is greater than just sodium and chlorine combination. So just one example. So so in every chapter start with definitions, right? So basic terms. So make some flashcards of definitions like biosphere, all life on Earth, like biosphere, ecosystem, all living organism in an area, right? Plus non-living organisms. Community, all organism in a particular area. Population, all individual organisms in a single species, that's population. An organism and organs and tissue and cells and organelles and molecules, like chapter 3 that we are going to cover in this video. So life, the study of life, which is biology, reveals unifying themes. Again, these 11 themes, like listed here and in your book in chapter 1, cell, DNA, emerging properties, regulation, interaction with the environment, energy, unity, diversity, evolution, structure, function, scientific inquiry, science, technology, and society, and goes on, right? So the core theme is evolution, one of the core themes, which basically accounts for the unity and diversity of life, which all combines both. And studying nature, scientists make observations and form and test hypotheses. Also, this is very, very important. And if there is a theory, which is basically very strongly supported by many hypotheses, and it's very strong. Okay, so biology, again, is the scientific study of life, and it's actually combines more than 1.8 million species, including plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, archaea, and etc. So just go over this chapter and then take notes and basically pay attention to hypothesis and theory, which is hypothesis is like a tentative explanation. Theory is many hypotheses supported by a large body of evidence. And pay attention to the words and also the roots of the words. So that's really chapter 1. Chapter 2 is about basic chemistry. So that includes inorganic chemistry, like periodic table you see here, organic chemistry, like carbon chemistry, and also as well as carbon and carbon is carbon chemistry and water. So we can go break them down to a chapter 2, the 2A, 2B, 2C, so to cover the whole thing. So inorganic chemistry is about everything in this periodic table. Organic chemistry is about just carbon. Really, it's carbon chemistry. So periodic table, you can think of periodic table as like card games. You can see here. So it's like solitaire. So you can see individual blocks of cards actually opened in each groups, group 1A, group 2A, group 3A, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there are individual cards. You can think of the elements as individual cards. Each element has a number. Hydrogen is our number 1. You can see that it's at the very top. And but not only that, it's in the group 1A. Each group, which there are 92 naturally occurring elements here, and they are divided into individual groups. Each group have things in common. That's why they are in this group, like red colors you see here, group 1A. That's basically shows their valence electron number is same, which is 1. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and these are all hydrogen. They all have same thing in common. They have this 1 electron in their valence electron. But in beryllium, magnesium, calcium, they have 2. Boron has 3, carbon has 4, nitrogen has 5, oxygen has 6, fluorine has 7, and helium has 8. So it goes on like that. You got the idea. What about rows? So there are rows also. Each row shows basically how many shells each row has. So row 1 has just 1 shell, row 2 has 2 shells, row 3 3 shells, row 4 4 shells, and goes on like that. So again, there are 92 of these elements are natural. There are overall 118 total elements in this periodic table. The number, of course, goes up. This is not a final number. Every year, new elements added. So we are very interested in valence shell, and when we're studying the atoms, so we look at the valence shell. Okay, so that's inorganic chemistry. So basically, just read the chapter 2 very carefully and review all this inorganic chemistry. You might know already by now from our high school. Some stuff might be just pretty familiar, like atoms, which are made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. You already know. Protons and neutrons are in the nucleus in the middle. Proton number determines atomic number. And it's constant. It's constant in each element. Okay, so that's atomic number. But neutron numbers is the proton plus neutron numbers, which is basically combination, is mass number, which is atomic weight. Electrons are they are actually important because they are in the electron shells, especially in valence outer shell, which is called valence shell. Okay, so what else here? So proton, neutron, electrons. The charge, protons are positively charged, neutrons are neutral, which is no charge, electrons are negatively charged. Their mass is 1 Dalton, proton 1 Dalton is neutron, but electron is negligible. Their location, I already talked about, nucleus, and our orbitals. So just review the chapter, look at the periodic table, and study each individual groups. 2B is actually water, which is basically water and life. Water is a unique molecule, that's why it has its own kind of subchapter here. There are 4 emerging properties in the water that contributes to Earth's stability and suitability for life. And also there is acids and bases, which is basically pH that also we cover in this chapter. So we learn about bonds, and hydrogen bonding is one of them, which is basically between polar water molecules in this case. And the heat can be absorbed or released, right? So if it is absorbed, then hydrogen bonds break, and then it's released when hydrogen bonds form. So just some examples. And also there is some information here in this chapter about pH, like goes from 1 to 14, the scale, and also how to make a basic solution. So make sure that you review that part as well. Chapter 2C is actually about carbon, which is the other half of the chemistry, which is called organic chemistry. Okay, so organic chemistry is the study of carbon compounds. Even though it looks like just one carbon, but carbon is actually more than a carbon, and also a few other elements involved besides carbon. Carbon is essential to diversity of life, very, very important. And we know carbon is in, it has actually has four, group 4A, it's in the group 4A, that's why it has 4 electrons in outer shell. That means it can make actually 4 bonds with four hydrogen, for example. So, and that can form diverse molecules bonding the other atoms. And there are something called chemical groups that have, they are key to the molecular function we learn here too. So 4 covalent bonds can build complex organic molecules. Chemical bonds, chemical groups have this specific properties. I'm sorry. So diversity of life depends on these complex organic molecules. They can be straight or branching. So we learn about this. They might exist as isomers and increase structure and functional diversity. So there are these chemical groups like hydroxyl, carbonyl, carboxyl, amino, sulfonyl, phosphate, methyl. They can be added to the also to the molecules and make molecule more diverse and new molecules, create new molecules. So make sure that you know about these. You know about isomers, like structural cis trans, and enantiomers, left-handed, right-handed. This is very important. In biology, a molecule can be left-handed or right-handed, and that can change its properties, and it could also make it active or inactive. So very important. So left-handed versus right-handed molecule. Okay, it might look similar in terms of structure, but actually they are just mirror image of each other, but their properties are not same. So make sure you look at that too. That's chapter 2 and chapter 3, which is biomolecules. Biomolecules, they are also called macromolecules. Basically, there are 3 big groups here of biomolecules. They are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. We also have these high energy compounds like ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. So this is group chapter 3, biomolecules in your green book. They are mostly polymers, mostly made from monomers. Carbs, we know carbs, lipids, proteins, they are 3 big groups. And 8 carbs are made of monomers like monosaccharides, lipids made of fatty acids and glycerol. Proteins are made of amino acids like twin amino acids, and nucleic acids made of nucleotides. Right, so carbohydrates, monosaccharides, they are energy source. Lipids are also energy source. Proteins can be enzymes, proteins, transport, movement, receptor, defense, structure, storage, and hormone. And nucleic acids are important for hereditary. So we are going to also do a more review on each of these: carbohydrate, lipids, proteins, in next class. Pay attention and finish up the reading this chapter, and we will also look at some example questions. And keep studying. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like and share, and best of success.